Morning.
Good morning.
All right, everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, good to be here. Sam, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me. I know we've been talking for the last few months, and it's been great to get to know you. Congrats on your success.
Thank you.
My name is Schneider. I've been at eBay for about 6 years now. I'm on the business development team, a senior manager on the business development team. I've been working with Amazon merchants for about 6 years now, helping them to get up and running and expand their full list of SKUs and products to eBay. Today I really just want you to hopefully take away a few pieces of good information as you consider expanding on eBay. If you're not already on eBay today, some tips and tricks to grow your business on eBay, and look forward to the chat. I know we only have about 15 minutes, but I'm here till about 2:30 today. I'll be in the little room with the fireplace, so feel free to swing by and ask questions, grab a card. I'm happy to try to help you in any way that I can. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about the benefits of eBay. We'll talk about common mistakes to avoid on eBay. Try to take a couple questions. I know we're running a little bit behind on time, but definitely want to be a resource and help everyone as much as possible. So, a lot of people, like Sam said, Amazon, and they kind of forget that eBay's been around for 20 years and is doing $88 billion a year in sales, and is actually bigger than Amazon in certain categories, bigger than Amazon in certain countries. So there's certainly a whole world outside of Amazon, like Sam said. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So right now we're at about 170 million active users. About 88% of our listings are fixed price. So where a lot of people used to have an impression or image of eBay as a auction site, and certainly we started 21 years ago now, primarily in auction and used products. In the last 6-7 years, the business has really transformed to focus on brand new fixed priced items. So if you're not selling your brand new fixed priced items on eBay, you're really missing out on about 88% of what's happening on eBay. So that's sometimes a real eye-opener for people who haven't been on eBay in 10 years and they still kind of have that old impression of eBay. So if you haven't followed eBay, good morning. 88% fixed price items and 81% is brand new merchandise. So that's really our focus. Certainly if you have used items, we're not saying don't list it. It's just not our focus right now. And it probably won't be our focus in the future. 391 million downloads. So I don't know if Amazon has recently updated their figures, but let's just say Amazon's somewhere in the 400 million range, 400, 450, I don't know the exact number. But we're not that far behind Amazon in terms of our mobile downloads. And really, let's be honest, I mean, mobile commerce is kind of the future of commerce. Last year, for the first time, we did more mobile business than PC-based business. And so about 44, 45 billion of the 88 billion is now mobile commerce transactions. And so you kind of start thinking, well, why are customers so willing to buy on Amazon or eBay using their mobile device? And sometimes it's simple. It's so simple. It's just safety and security, right? Amazon has their payment information securely stored. eBay has the payment information securely stored. So if you're trying to capture that person sitting at their kid's soccer game, the odds of them typing their full credit card number into a website that they've never been on are pretty much small to not going to happen. And so eBay has developed 20 years of trust. Amazon's developed years of trust with these customers, and that's why they're so willing to hit buy it now, pay now, and check out all in a matter of seconds. Looking at what's on eBay, 2/3 of our packages are delivered in 3 business days or less. So, clearly Amazon has done a good job in the world of shipping, but there's millions of eBay customers that are willing to wait maybe an extra day to save a couple bucks. And so when you kind of think of who the eBay customer is versus the Amazon customer, that's often a good telling sign of, the eBay customer might be willing to wait a day or two extra in exchange for a slight discount. So in terms of velocity, I think this slide kind of tells, they say a picture tells 1,000 words. I think this is, pretty telling. People ask me sometimes, is eBay still doing well? I would probably point them to this slide. When you have 39 Fitbits sold every 60 seconds, I think we still have a pretty healthy business. Cash flow positive business, we're a publicly traded company, company is growing, you can obviously track the performance of the company. And we don't have the same overhead expense as some other marketplaces that have had to spend billions of dollars building warehouses. So why list and sell on eBay? First and foremost, diversification. So I'm sure all of our grandmothers or grandfathers told us, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, I think that advice probably bodes pretty well in life. And so, diversification is key. And what does eBay bring? It brings incremental sales. So most of our large Amazon sellers that have actually studied the data and actually looked at the email addresses coming from eBay compared to what they're doing on Amazon have told us upwards of 70, 80% of the orders they see from eBay are incremental new customers. So 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, I've had customers tell me 95% of the orders were incremental. So we're not, I've been at eBay almost 6 years. I've yet to have a large Amazon merchant tell me their Amazon sales went down when they launched on eBay, or even half the eBay orders were just old Amazon customers. That's not really the story. The story of the data, if you study the data, is that it's very, very, very strong in terms of incrementality. And largely because of mobile, because of those 391 million downloads of our mobile app, that's why we can deliver such strong incrementality. And then international. This is one of the areas where we're actually bigger than Amazon. We're in about 55, 60 countries that Amazon doesn't even have a presence in. And we launched a program about 3 years ago called the Global Shipping Program, where all you have to do is send the item to a special warehouse in Kentucky, and then we take care of the tariffs, the customs, and the international leg of the shipping. So you don't have to quote the customer international shipping fees. You just simply need to get it to Kentucky. So to you and to your systems, it looks, smells, feels like a US-based order because you're just getting it to Kentucky. And then once it gets to Kentucky, we open it up, we deal with the tariffs, the customs, and then we get it into the hands of the customer. And if it disappears into the middle of the ocean, you still get paid. We take the responsibility once it gets to Kentucky for getting it to the customer. So 61% of everything happening on eBay today now has a mobile touch point, and more than half of the sales are closing out on mobile devices. So this just kind of shows the power of mobile commerce, which I've heard a little bit mentioned this morning, but really marketplaces are huge, but it's the mobile element that is making marketplaces so huge. So I just mentioned the Global Shipping Program. Again, you ship the item to Kentucky, and then eBay and our shipping partner, Pitney Bowes, handle the tariffs, the customs, and the international leg of the shipping. So this basically gives you a instant, flip the switch, international solution. You don't have to determine if something is or is not eligible for this program. Everything's predetermined. So if it shows as being eligible for GSP, all you have to do is basically check the box and activate it. So if there's probably one super important slide in this deck, this might be it. And feel free to email me afterward, or Sam will probably have it on the conference site. But this is the one that kind of gets into the how do I actually execute on becoming successful on eBay, and the biggest mistakes merchants make when they're selling on the site. Kind of the difference between mediocre and successful. So the first thing I always say is you have to figure out ways to automate your processes. Anytime you are doing things manually, that leads to a much stronger likelihood of something falling through the cracks. So automate, automate, automate as much as possible. Next is we have a tool called Seller Hub that gives pricing analytics, pricing recommendation tools. I'd say 8 out of 10 merchants I speak to don't even know that Seller Hub exists, much less are not using it. Not optimizing product titles. So eBay gives you 80 characters in a product title. I look at listings all the time from large Amazon merchants, and they're using 30 characters, 40 characters, 50 characters. So our search engine looks at that 80 character product title. I was speaking with a merchant the other day, and they were selling sweatshirts. They gave all this great description of sweatshirt, but they never actually mentioned the word sweatshirt in the listing. And I'm like, how is our search algorithm supposed to know this is a sweatshirt if you don't use the word sweatshirt? So just kind of simple, common sense mistakes that merchants make when not optimizing their product titles. Next thing is promoted listings. I'll talk more about this in a few minutes, but we have a program similar to Amazon sponsored products, but the nice thing about our program is you only pay if the item sells. You only pay if the item sells, so it's a pay-per-sale model. So you're basically bidding between 1% and 10% to get additional real estate on page 1 of the eBay search rankings, but you only pay if the item sells. So you know exactly if the program is working or not working, and Sam has actually in the last 30 days on his own account been really successful with this. This is one of the shining lights on his current account. We're working on some other things, but this was the one shining light of a way that he's been able to grow his account. Promoted listings, definitely. We've seen merchants increase sales as much as 30% using promoted listings. So the next thing is out of stocks. And what I mean by out of stocks is order cancellations. So if you tell eBay you have something, you need to fulfill the order. So even if you have to go buy it from somebody else to figure out how to fulfill it, you got to fulfill those orders. That's probably the #1 way to get your eBay account suspended, is to run into significant issues in terms of canceling out orders. So eBay looks at an order where you're telling us you have the item. The customer has now bought the item and paid you for the item. So it's basically a prepaid order. So it's very disappointing to the eBay customer when you have to go cancel the order and give the customer a refund. It's not like a website where you can just say, hey, sorry, I don't have the item, but I haven't charged you for it. Because on eBay, you have charged them. So now you have to give them 2 pieces of bad news. You have to tell them I can't fulfill the order, and I have to work through the process of giving you a refund. So whatever you do, do not cancel eBay orders. That's the #1 no-no on eBay. Next is images and quality of images. So oftentimes looking at listings where merchants have scraped the listing from somewhere else and scraped it again, and the pixelation is just bad. So if 61% of our traffic is mobile, what's one of the most important pieces of success on mobile? Good images, right? If somebody's looking at an image on their phone or their iPad, they need a clear image, and if you're using a 300, 400, 500 pixel image, it's not going to show up well on a mobile device. So you want images ideally that are 1,000 pixels on the long side. Next is not including item specifics, manufacturer part numbers, UPC. This is now being required in probably 70–80% of all categories on eBay, and in the categories that it's not currently being required in, it probably will be in the relatively near future. So that's very, very important. Next is incorrect handling time. So if it's going to take you 3 business days to get an order out, that's okay. Just make sure it says 3 business days on the listing. Don't promise customers 1 business day handling time and then actually fulfill in 3. So part of becoming a top-rated seller, which is kind of a key metric that our search algorithm uses to determine who's higher up in the search rankings and who's lower in the search rankings, is whether or not you're meeting those top-rated seller metrics. And one of the metrics of becoming a top-rated seller is that you're meeting whatever handling time you've told us at least 95% of the time. So you're meeting your commitments at least 95% of the time. Next is Promotions Manager. Also kind of an easy, low-hanging mistake to avoid. So if a customer is going to buy 3 of an item, I think most people in this room would probably agree the customer is going to expect a discount for buying 3 versus 1, right? We have a very easy to use tool, takes less than 2 minutes to set up a promotion to give customers a discount for buying 3 of an item, or give customers a discount for spending an extra $50 or $100 with you. So that's a very easy to use tool, and a lot of merchants don't realize we actually give you a boost in the search ranking for running a promotion. Next is policy violations. So if you are taking intellectual property, like for example photos from a manufacturer, and you're not authorized to do that, certain manufacturers are reporting that more and more. So I would say use your own images. You might have to set up a small photo studio or have someone else take the images for you, but as much as possible avoid using images that are not your intellectual property. And then the last few things, not responding to customer open cases, issuing refunds in a timely manner. That's a big no-no on eBay. So I'd say definitely take a look at this link at the bottom of the page, or you can always just Google eBay top-rated seller requirements. Take a close look at what it takes to become a top-rated seller. So another thing is exclusively relying on FBA. So I purposely put this in the slide since I know a lot of merchants in the room here exclusively rely on FBA. I think as a short-term approach, that's fine to growing on eBay, but long-term, I can tell you that it's not the best customer experience for our hundreds of millions of customers to order something on eBay and get it delivered in an Amazon box. And so while we do allow it today, that could change in the future. And so if you want to make eBay a large channel, it's fine to potentially use FBA as a short-term starting point. But you need to seriously consider alternatives to FBA if you really want to grow your eBay business to the next level. And then slow shipping, not meeting our guaranteed delivery metrics, and I'll talk more about this. But we're definitely pushing more and more traffic to both top-rated sellers as well as sellers that can meet certain guaranteed delivery metrics. So easy listing and selling on eBay, determine your inventory levels. And the items you want to list, figure out how you want to list them. So there's numerous tools out there that can take your Amazon listings and turn them into eBay listings. I think it was Barbara that was talking earlier. She's working on her eBay integration. There's numerous other tools that have eBay integrations where they can take your Amazon listings and turn them into eBay listings. There's companies like Channel Advisor and Seller Cloud and Listing Mirror, among others. There's a long laundry list of companies that can do that. So I definitely would say to take a look at those companies and see which one is the best fit for you, and then prepare to get your orders and ship them out. So we talked a little bit about promoted listings. This goes into a little more detail. Again, the beauty of promoted listings is you're basically bidding for a spot on page 1 of the search rankings, but you only pay if the item sells. So it's a very low-risk model. You're not going to get an unexpected $10,000 bill for advertising. You only pay when the item sells. We talked a little bit about Promotions Manager. These are just some screenshots saying, spend at least $150, save 10%. Buy 3 of this item, get a discount, that kind of thing. Other things to think about real quick. I know we're running low on time, so I'll try to be brief with some of these. So pay close attention to the top-rated plus requirements. One of the other requirements of becoming a top-rated seller is you have to get at least 400 transactions every 90 days. There's all different strategies you can use to try to generate 400 transactions. I've seen some merchants who will purposefully get extra aggressive on some lower priced items to meet that metric. That's certainly an option. But you want to be on that top-rated seller track, because that's really the track where eBay's pushing a lot of traffic. Another thing is set it and forget it. That's not a successful strategy generally on eBay. Just saying, hey, I'm going to take all my Amazon listings, port them over to eBay, and hopefully some orders will come in. You know, if you're not using Promotions Manager, you're not using promoted listings, you're not repricing items if they're not selling, you know, the same way that you would aggressively run your Amazon business, you need to aggressively run your eBay business if you really want to be successful. You know, if you just want to have an order flow in here and there, then you can have a set it and forget it strategy. Another thing is, around repricing and other analytics, so there's a company called TerraPeak. We recently acquired them. We're incorporating a lot of their technology, but in the meantime, you know, they are a standalone company. They have some really good tools, and I believe they are still offering a free trial, so you may want to take a look at that. We talked about avoiding canceling orders, being conservative with your shipping timelines, and using third-party tools to automate your processes as much as possible. So for example, if you have 10 of something, you may want to only tell eBay you have 5 of something. If you're using drop shipping methods and your drop shipper tells you, hey, we only have 3 of that item, you might not want to list that item on eBay if it's a drop shipper that isn't really reliable with their inventory counts. So those are just some things to think about. You know, prioritizing eBay orders. So if you kind of treat the eBay system and the eBay marketplace and the eBay customers kind of like your, you know, 3rd or 4th priority, then you're probably going to see 3rd or 4th priority type growth. But if you treat the eBay marketplace and customers like a channel that you're actually really are serious about growing, and you can meet the guaranteed delivery metrics and the top rated metrics, then you have a strong chance of success on eBay. So here's a little more information about our guaranteed delivery and the metrics and the benefits, both from sellers and buyers. A lot of you may be able to meet these metrics already, so this isn't necessarily about pushing you to do it faster. A lot of times merchants are already meeting these metrics. And obviously, you know, a lot of people feel like, hey, Amazon is in some ways taking over a lot of the world in a lot of different categories, right? So it's not just about you diversifying on eBay, but it's also about, you know, making sure that there's other marketplaces to keep Amazon honest, right? Because if other marketplaces go away, then Amazon decides to pull the rug out from under you, then you don't have a business anymore. So it's not just about diversifying your own business on eBay, but also you want the eBay experience to be a strong experience both for the buyers and the sellers. So here's just a couple of recent testimonials about guaranteed delivery. You know, merchants seeing 63% sales growth, 146% sales growth. You know, so this is all important stuff. And when you think about eBay, you know, one thing that we feel good about going to work every day at eBay is, you know we are a big supporter of the small, medium-sized business community. You know, we're the ones legislating Washington in support of small, medium-sized businesses. We're the ones that really have had a 20-year-long focus on small, medium business. So, you know, it's really important that we work together to continue to make eBay a very successful marketplace. And we are offering certain special protections through the end of 2018 for merchants that are able to meet guaranteed delivery metrics. So here's my email address, here's my LinkedIn account. Happy to connect. Again, I'll be in the room with the fireplace. We can have a cozy meeting by the fireplace if you want to stop by. Also, you're welcome to email me questions, and look forward to speaking with many of you after the conference. I don't know if we have any time for questions now, or maybe we'll take 2 questions and then we'll do the rest in the hallway.